we're talking about being pulled by the vision this month, and the title of today's talk is to free your mind and the rest will follow. Well, we have to free our minds from this incessant conversation that's going on. We have to free our minds from this incessant, I don't know about you, what do you have up there? I have a committee. I have a committee. First of all, my committee sounds like my critical mother. It sounds like my demanding father. It sounds like all the ways in which I don't measure up to how I would like to be. I've actually named them. I have Critical Carla and Anxious Amber. I have Pitiful Pearl. Oh, do I have Pitiful Pearl? Oh my God. I have Worry Wart. And every once in a while, even up there, it's a little bit of sarcasm, which is my guilty pleasure, and I never let it come out of my mouth. But I sure do think it sometimes. And it's all going on at the same time, right? Isn't that? And that's part of what keeps us from living in the moment and being present with our own lives, being present with the truth of who we came here to be, and quite frankly, being present to any contribution that we're going to make. Right? I don't know how many times I've talked myself out of this whole idea that I as a one person can make a difference, right? Because Critical Carla gets in there and Pitiful Pearl gets in there and then Worry Wart and all of that gets in there. And we just stop ourselves from actually allowing the vision to pull us. Whether it's a personal vision about our own lives or whether it's a vision about how we want to see the world shifting and changing and the healing that we want to see for our planet, right? All of this stuff can get in the way. And so we have to free our minds. We have to free our minds. Now, this is not new. Actually, there's very little new that's about new thought. The idea is that we have to have a new thought about things. And we have to see it from a different point of view. So from the teachings of Jesus, we get the truth shall set you free. The truth shall set you free. And from Paul, we get be transformed by the renewing of your mind. From the science of mind, we get change your thinking, change your life. So these are the things that we want to focus on a little bit this morning because they do give us a roadmap. They give us a roadmap on how we can rest our mind and allow the rest of it to follow. Free our minds and allow the rest of it to follow. So the first one is, I want to give you this quote from Ernest Holmes. This is from this thing called You. Your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. Well, that's a lovely thought, except that if I have my committee working, there's no space, right? There's no outlet through which creative intelligence can work. I can't listen to my intuition. I can't hear the little nudge. I can't have the moment of revelation or download some new piece of information, right? And I am clearly thinking about my human foibles instead of the spiritual truth. The truth shall set us free. The truth that we belong to the universe. We're actually an outlet for life, for the creative intelligence of the universe. Evolution has created a beautiful universe in which we live. Consciousness has grown something really amazing. And one of the things that consciousness has grown is an organ that can become self-conscious, self-aware of consciousness. And now to participate. Now it's our job. What are we going to evolve from here? Personally and collectively. What are we going to contribute to evolution, to the ongoing unfoldment of the beauty of life? That's the truth. Not only what are we going to, but almost more importantly, are we going to take responsibility for that? I also love when it says the truth will set you free, but It'll hurt first. I just hate that part. I hate that part, right? Take responsibility for the fact that I am an outlet of creative intelligence. Am I actually in alignment with spiritual truth, or am I just allowing my mind to run amok? Or am I finding myself drawn to, well, if only I had that thing, then I would be happy. If only it would be this way, then I would be happy. Right? All of the games and things that we play with ourselves. The truth will set us free, but it may hurt first. We may have to take responsibility for the fact that we are an outlet through which creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. I mean, what an extraordinary thing. Do you understand? That's how important you are. And that's how big the purpose of our lives is. To be that. And to do that the way that we individually and uniquely do that. The truth will set us free. It sets us free from the limitations of our humanness, of the ways in which we hold ourselves back, the littleness that we feel about ourselves. It sets us free from our critical nature of others. It sets us free from, well, this is just the way it's always been. I don't know how it's ever going to change. Well, if I'm 89 and start walking to Washington, D.C., I mean, that's like that. We could all be inspired by that lack of allowing human limitation to hold us back. We are responsible to our purpose, to be an outlet for creative intelligence. The truth will set us free. That's the truth of who we are. So that's the first piece of freeing our minds. Is to move into the truth and to stop telling ourselves the limited story of our past. I love this quote. Trying to change physical conditions without changing my consciousness is like trying to change the reflection in the mirror without changing the object causing the reflection. Life is simply reflecting back to us, individually and collectively, what we think and believe about life, and this truth that is setting us free, the truth about the nature of reality. And so if we want to change the outer circumstances, we actually have to change what's standing in front of the mirror, which is the renewing of our minds. Be transformed by the renewing of our minds, to renew our consciousness in alignment with our spiritual truth. Okay, I'm going to ask you, this is a really stupid question, but just do this thought experiment with me. Pretend you're standing in front of the mirror, right? You're getting ready to go out. Maybe you're going to go out on a date. Maybe you're going to go out for a nice dinner. Maybe you're going to go for something really special, and you think, wait, my hair's not quite right. Do you actually stand there and try to comb the hair in the mirror? Stupid, right? You don't comb the hair in the mirror. You comb your own hair. And what happens? The mirror's reflection shifts. And all of a sudden you go, oh, that looks good. I'm ready to go. And yet, what we tend to do in our lives is we're constantly trying to comb the hair of everything that's going on around us, as if somehow that's going to make the permanent change. No, it is an internal change. It is that which is standing in front of the mirror. And if we want life to mirror something differently back to us, we have to renew our minds over and over and over again with spiritual truth, with that which is beautiful and just and good, healthy. We have to show ourselves, seek evidence for all the ways in which life is good, is growing. People are doing amazing things, like walking 1,400 miles at 89 years old. These are the extraordinary things that we want to pay attention to. This is what we want to put in front of the mirror so that we can renew and rewrite the very synaptic pathways in our brain. That's what we're doing. It's not magic. It's not mystical. We're not trying to do anything to God. We're changing our consciousness. We're changing the very synaptic pathways of our brain to focus on spiritual truth, to insist upon it, to look for it, and to begin to see it revealed back to us. And as we renew our minds over and over and over again, the mirror begins to change. How long has the conversation been about Juneteenth? How long? And ultimately and eventually the conversation changes, because who's standing in front of the mirror has changed. The shift in consciousness to inclusivity, to celebrating diversity, to seeing that spiritual truth, that's what changes. It starts by renewing our minds. We have to see the truth, let it set us free, and then be willing to have that renew our minds. The last thing we want to talk about then is this lovely quote by Paramahansa Yogananda. And it is this: most people consider the course of events as natural and inevitable. They little know what radical changes are possible through prayer. So we don't often use the term prayer. We tend to use the term spiritual mind treatment. It is a way of seeing the truth, speaking the truth, and renewing our minds. And prayer, affirmative prayer, any kind of prayer that aligns us with spiritual truth is what begins to develop that entire consciousness, that entire revelation of spiritual truth as it pours through us. Remember, we're the outlet for creative intelligence. We're the outlet for love. We're the outlet. It's not about getting love. It's not about getting all of the things that we want. It's about being it and letting it out, standing in front of the mirror. And the mirror must then reflect back to us. And so we use our spiritual work, we use prayer, we use our spiritual mind treatment, not to change anything out there, but to shift our consciousness into that deep and abiding truth. So we talk about spiritual mind treatment. We talk about spiritual mind treatment as a way of getting unstuck from emotional reactions, getting unstuck and out of biased thinking, moving beyond our limitation and fear into an entirely new mindset. And it is that mindset that changes everything. Why? I guess because of a mindset. We use that term mind and thought and intelligence as if it's like somehow connected to our linear rational brain. No, we're talking about consciousness, the mind, heart and even the gut, right? We know there are brain cells in the mind, the heart, and the gut. And so we should say in the brain, the heart, and the gut. That's our mind. That's the totality of our mind and the totality of our consciousness. And so our spiritual work through this technology we call spiritual mind treatment aligns all of that, shifts all of that into alignment with spiritual truth so that we can be freed by that truth and renew our minds so that our consciousness is shifted so that our life begins to truly reflect it and change happens. So, spiritual mind treatment, spiritual because it's based on the infinite nature of life. Mind because it is directly involved with the use of consciousness and most importantly that all that crap that's back there in the subconscious. And treatment because it's like taking a pill for your consciousness. It's like deciding to do a treatment on our own consciousness so that we can grow, so that we can remake ourselves into alignment with the spiritual truth of what we believe. Our treatment is so that we can cure our consciousness from the illusion and the false reality and bring ourselves into alignment with truth. So spiritual mind treatment, kind of a weird way of saying it, but it has this profound implication. And so, Yeah, so Ernest Holmes says it this way. We're going to talk about just a couple of things. This is from the Science of Mind. What does spiritual mind treatment do? It opens in an avenue of thought, expands consciousness, and lets reality through. It clarifies the mentality, removes the obstruction of thought, and lets in the light. Right? We're creating that avenue through which spiritual truth, creative intelligence, we're opening the outlet for creative intelligence to move. Treatment is not for the purpose of making things happen. It is to provide within ourselves an avenue through which they may happen. Yes? Yes. Treatment, I don't have this one, sorry. Treatment removes doubt and fear, lets in the realization of the presence of spirit, and is necessary while we are confronted by obstructions or obstacles. Let's be clear. Life, it has obstructions and obstacles, right? It's a journey, it's a path, and there are pebbles, and there are boulders, and there's torrential rain, and streams to cross, right? There are challenges and obstacles. But it is when we engage with our spiritual technology and we do our work in consciousness that all of that becomes part of the journey, and we become a creative outlet and an inspiration for others. We get to help people over the boulder because maybe we've learned how to get over it ourselves, or somebody's on the other side and they're reaching their hand for us. Right? That's true both in physical reality and it's true in consciousness. Our spiritual mind treatment moves us and allows us the confidence to move through the obstacles and challenges, not the pretense that there aren't going to be any. Finally, we find in the Science of Mind this idea that we already live in a perfect universe, but this needs to be seen before it can become part of our experience. If all we're ever doing is collecting evidence about how it's not working, then that's what we're standing in front of the mirror with. And that is what the mirror reflects back to us. So we have to see in our mind's eye that which we want to see as part of our experience. The origin of every problem is ultimately to be found within us. And the answer to every problem will be discovered in spiritual realization. It is the spiritual truth that sets us free. It renews our mind. And it gives us that place where we can stand in front of the mirror. We can change our thinking and change our life. So if you want to learn more about this, we do this in all of our classes. I highly recommend you think about getting into Foundations class in the fall. It'll start in September. Lots and lots and lots of classes. Actually, the truth is, everything we teach here is designed to do exactly this, and to teach you about spiritual mind treatment as this profound technology that helps us to do that. And then, when we do that, regardless of the obstacles and challenges, we can know life is beautiful. It's a lovely day every day that we allow ourselves to be inspired by that spiritual realization.